Well, Putin the tax cat. This is Putin the tax cat. He wants to know: did you vote for Obama? If you did, I don't know. There's no hope. Anyway, maybe you just didn't know. Maybe you just liked the guy because he seemed, new change. But anyway, I'm going to talk about a little bit something that came up. Actually, it's, because I'm going to get on a couple more of these different videos besides just with the silver, and everybody seems to be interested in silver. And but paper stuff matters too. And when it comes to papers you get from the bank, you just can't ignore everything that's out there, and you can't ignore a lot of things that are on paper. And Putin the tax cat, he's he's always on the ball. So let me give you some information. One thing that people popularly say is, well, they kind of think that Obama, if you voted for him, is kind of for the little guy, basically. He's only he'll give tax breaks maybe to the little guy, and even though he maybe gives tax breaks to the big people, maybe he'll help out the smaller people. But it doesn't seem to be the case, because this may not affect too many people, but let me just put it to you this way. There's these things, like a lot of people walking away from their homes or their properties, or they're in business, they have a loan on a property that's producing income for them in some way, or whatever the hell it is. It could be anything, and they walk away from the loan. So the bank actually has the loan, and they're stuck with it, so they foreclose on it. But what happens is the bank in turn takes the property, because basically whoever it is, the homeowner or the business owner, walked away from it, and they take it in as as basically it's a loss. The loan is a loss, and they'll assign a fair market value to the property. But say it's some average person that has bought a house for $200,000 or whatever, and they thought they could afford it, and it turns out they can't. They can't make the payments. Well, they walk away from it, and it's the bank takes the property. But that's not the end of the whole freaking deal. Now, something has changed under the Obama administration. Actually, it's going to change as of January 1st, 2014. And, maybe this is going to be a little too complex, but, I just want to say some of these things because, some of these people say, nothing on paper means anything. Whoa. Anyway, people don't know. But anyway, say, for instance, you walk away from this property, you abandon it, you can't make the payments on a mortgage or whatever, you can't handle the debt load of the loan, making the payments and all that. So the bank takes over the property. You have abandonment of property. They will issue you a form, 1099 miscellaneous, for abandonment of property. Basically, in other words, for the difference between what you owe on the loan and a fair market value of the property. Say you owe $200,000 on that loan, and the bank took back the property, and they say the fair market value of the property is $50,000. Well, on your books, it's going to be like your loan goes off the balance sheet, and it's going to go it's going to actually be recognized as income, and they're telling the IRS it's income. Now, prior, what was going on before with all these, when the home market basically imploded, and this was very common. They had a forgiveness of debt type thing, where if it was up to $2 million. So if you got this Form 1099 miscellaneous for abandonment of property, what would happen is that you'd actually have this, forgiveness of debt thing issue where it was no problem. But as of January 1st, 2014, Obama has allowed that to sunset. So all these people, you hear the housing market's kind of starting to boom a little bit, and I kind of doubt it, I kind of doubt it. I think that's actually, there's not that many real grassroots buyers out there. It's actually bigger companies buying it up, and are being, maybe there's a mortgage foreclosure deal that's going on through them to other people, and when these people can't make the loan, They can't pay the loan. They abandon the property. So then the lending institution takes back the property, and if it's in an area where there's a lot of abandonment of the property, guess what happens to the values of the properties? They go, and there's some crazy values between what it was sold at and what the new fair market value is. I mean, it's like the new fair market value, so many times, is a fraction of what the original price was in the original loan. They're actually getting like 80% loan value, loan to equity value, these loans. And what's going on, the difference between that loan and what the bank now appraised, and you know how this works too. I don't know exactly, what appraisers they're getting, but there are some ridiculously skewed amounts. But it was not a problem before, because if you got this 1099 miscellaneous abandonment of property before, you had up to a $2 million forgiveness of debt clause that they came out with due to the crash in the housing market. But as of January 1st, 2014, the Obama administration basically let that sunset. So in other words, if you walk away from your house and you can't make payments and the bank takes it back and they say the fair market value of it is now a much lower price, the difference between what you owe on a loan and that fair market value will be assigned as income to you. You'll get a 1099 miscellaneous and you will owe taxes on that. So welcome to, in addition to Obamacare, other things that are going on. And, that's going to follow you around until you pay it or you make a deal or whatever. It may not be the full amount, because if you don't have the full amount to pay, but, the people that can't pay the full amount are in such a hurting position that, even paying a small amount is a major, major problem. So I just want to put a little bit extra information out there because, I'm getting tired of the the Illuminati, the Rothschilds, we are change, and, I know the elite guy, and this is the big conspiracies out there, and bring some things down to reality a little bit more. And these are actually things that, if enough people got out and protested this, because this doesn't affect most people. See, most people look at it and say, oh, that's bad, but they don't do nothing about it or say nothing about it. So this is more or less a public service message. They should not let that clause sunset with the forgiveness of debt. In other words, it's not really, if you paid all this money for a house and the bank takes it back, they got the house. If there's a fair market value assigned to the house that's much lower, you should not be responsible for the difference between the fair market value in a loan, what's left on a loan. But as of January 1st, 2014, you will be. And in other words, you may not have to pay that to the bank. You'll still be in default to the bank. You'll still have your credit rating screwed up. But the IRS will want taxes for all that income you got that you actually didn't get. You see, it's more or less paper. And, to the people that say paper doesn't matter, oh, it matters. It matters. Getting tired of these freaking yo-yos on the internet and YouTube. So I'm going to actually start doing a lot more, I'm going to delve into some other subjects too, because I shouldn't, but I will. Because for me to say this on the internet is like literally pennies on a dollar. Literally. All right? So I don't like throwing stuff out here like this. But that's exactly what the deal is. And as of January 1st, 2014, and it's something that, people aren't even looking at. Alex Jones not making a big issue out of it. David Icke will tell you it's the lizard people. We Are Anonymous will come out with a little mask. It's like a bunch of theatrics. But actually a lot of people, if enough people bitched about this, they reinstate it, and they reinstate it. But, it doesn't hurt most people, so most people don't bitch about it. They should, though. It's very unjust. Very unjust. And it's actually telling you a lot what this president's about. That's some cold stuff, man. In other words, you're going to get hit with having this supposed income from someplace. You never got the money, and you're going to owe taxes on this money. And if there's one agency out there that's a good collector of money, is the IRS. That's they're going to be after you. You may not get the whole sum. You might have to make a deal with them, but you're going to have to answer for whatever at some point in the future, and it's never going to go away. And you're not going to be able to remain anonymous as long as you're using a social security number. So tell me, they got you, man. They got you. So anyway, just figured I'd inform you of this. If it's a little bit confusing, I don't know if it is or isn't, because I noticed it's almost like better to put something out on the internet about the Rothschilds and the Rothschilds. Most of that stuff. I put one video out on that, and when I first put it out, I figured, I bet you this stupid video takes off, and it did. But it's not like, I threw a little more about hemp and George Washington and all this kind of garbage, but, it's not really the problem. They're not really the problem, man. A lot of people don't realize there's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff. Anyway, over and out. And I'm going to show you Rocky Caesar Balboa here. Yeah, and if Putin the tax can't solve your problem, we got Rocky Caesar Balboa. He can go take a visit to the banker, have a nice little talk to him face to face with his stinky cigars and stuff like that, smoke out the room, and talk to the guy and basically change the fair market value on what the bank has on their balance sheet to something much higher than what the loan is. This way you can recognize it as an expense and a loss and a credit on your taxes and screw the bank, But that's the job of Rocky Caesar Balboa, and he's used that as a last resort. You can see this in his eyes and them ears, man. He'll take care of that stuff.